This Judge Merchant has a daughter who profits off of the likes of Adam Smith and Kamala Harris and the very lawsuit that he's about to decide. You see, she sends out emails on behalf of these political candidates. She's a Democratic strategist, runs a consulting firm, and some $93 million poured through her firm, according to the New York Post. And yet somehow this is the judge that's going to decide the case. This is his daughter. I mean, listen, your daughter's entitled to do whatever she wants to do, but you shouldn't be the judge on the case. I mean, obviously, just the appearance of impropriety here is really quite critical. So Trump's team going forward and saying, okay. So, Ms. Gonzalez, you made the decision yesterday that you're going to move forward on this trial, even though he cannot. Let me repeat, he really can't get an unbiased jury, not in New York City. But they're moving forward anyway. So maybe he's got something here, though, with this judge. I would think Jonathan Turley is a really, really bright guy, really smart legal scholar. He was just on Fox talking about this very issue with Dana Perino. I know it's Fox, but Jonathan Turley's pretty smart. So I want you to hear his explanation of whether or not this has any legs.
Standing, you can bring this in a court of law, and that's where this belongs. It shouldn't be hashed out in social media. Attorneys all the time raise not just conflicts, but the appearance of conflicts. Some involve family members. Indeed, many on the left have long attacked Supreme Court justices over their family members and their activities. But with 2 weeks to go, it'd probably be easier to move the courthouse than the judge in this case. And the reason is that they are very reluctant, unless you have something quite direct and sort of unassailable. We don't know what they have, but generally the activities of an adult child do not prove determinative for these types of motions. That once that child is an adult, then their actions are not attributed to those of the judge or vice versa.
You mentioned the Supreme Court, and it's true that the left has been furious about Clarence Thomas, and they say that his wife was agitating on the right and even tried to make some sort of connection on January 6th. Maybe there is. I don't want to litigate that here. But Clarence Thomas has not recused himself from cases. Is that a model here for this judge to say, I don't have anything to do with my daughter's business?
Well, those attacks preceded on Thomas and his wife preceded January 6th, so they've been attacking him over her political involvement for years. And I don't even think he has to cite that. I mean, the fact that it's an adult child is usually enough. But the Trump team is asking to file, and they appear to be suggesting they have something more. We'll have to see. When you look at these filings, you're looking for direct action from the judge or direct benefits to his family linked to the case. That could be campaign contributions. It can be campaign appearances. We just don't know. But the odds are against the team in dislodging this judge.
I wonder also.
Okay. So basically, Turley's saying it's not really going to happen. I mean, it should happen. And maybe this will be grounds eventually for the appeal. By the way, for those of you that are like, wait a second, is this like deja vu? I mean, didn't they already go through all this? And didn't she have to pay him? Yeah, but that was the civil thing. Now this is the criminal thing. So two different spheres there. Listen to this judge. This woman was on CNN. She's a retired Southern Court judge. And she's laying it out. And she's like, look, it's just not right. The appearance of impropriety here really is a sticking issue. And it's not acceptable. And that may be a leg to stand on. Turley saying, I don't think so. But listen to her.
And they've put together a composite of issues that would cause me a little bit of pause. And I can explain all the various things that they've put together. The main focus of this motion, as opposed to the previous one a year ago, which the judge denied, is on the daughter's line of work. As you already said, the daughter does work with many, many high-profile Democratic candidates. She works on their social media. They put out a post, they get contributions. She, as an owner, gets a percentage of those contributions. So there is a statute in New York which says a judge must disqualify himself if a person known by the judge to be within the 6th degree of relationship, and a daughter is the 1st degree, has an interest that could be substantially affected by the outcome of the proceeding. So the question here is this daughter likely to profit, to benefit from the outcome of this proceeding? And you have to understand, it's not actual conduct that's worrisome. It's the appearance to a reasonable person that this judge cannot be fair and impartial given that relationship. So ordinarily, I would think that a benefit financially would be to a spouse because they share the income. This is an independent adult daughter. They don't share income. But according to this statute, the judge must recuse if she would substantially benefit from the outcome. So that's one thing that concerned me. But if you add to that a few other facts that are of concern, at least to me, was the judge's original contribution to President Biden 4 years ago, which he made himself, very small contribution, $35.
Yeah, I think it was $10, right?
$35, I'm told, $35. A small contribution, but he made it through ActBlue himself on the internet. He did give an interview where he said he wouldn't comment on the case, but then he said he's been intensely preparing and he wants to be fair and impartial, and justice is important. He and his daughter discussed the former president's use of social media, which the judge condemned in that discussion, and the daughter reported on it. The Office of Court Administration said the daughter's Twitter account ended a year ago, so any recent posts on that were not from the daughter, and I kind of wondered why the Office of Court Administration was defending the daughter.
So look, any way you slice it, there's a whole bunch of reasons why this judge should not be on the case. There's a whole bunch of reasons why he has ethical issues and that nobody's going to buy this. And everybody's going to turn around and say, well, of course, it was in the bag. It was totally rigged. You don't want that when you have the first president in the history of this country to be on trial. It is so unbelievably wrong. And yet they're going to do it. They're going to do it anyway. And I predict, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to help him. Think about what's at stake. CNN just told us, what is this, 4 out of 5 days he's going to be in court instead of campaigning? Watch.
Starting next week, Donald Trump will be forced to sit in court 4 days a week as prosecutors try to convince a jury he broke the law when he allegedly falsified business records to cover up hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. The first big question, who will be on the jury for this historic trial? CNN has obtained the jury questionnaire. CNN's Caitlin Polance.
Okay, well, I've obtained the jury questionnaire as well. And I can tell you one of the first questions they're going to ask you. So, okay, if any of you guys are out there in New York and you're watching right now, remember how you need to answer these. You're going to be out if you listen to this podcast, basically. The first one is, do you listen to or watch podcasts? If so, which ones? So, yeah, if you listen to this, if you listen to Rogan or Bongino or Shapiro or any of these things, I have a feeling you're out. Do you listen to talk radio? If so, which programs? Okay, if you listen to Buck and Clay, I'm telling you, you're out. Do you currently follow Donald Trump on any social media site, or have you done so in the past? I mean, do these questions feel a little bit like one-sided? Is it just me? It's like, if you're a conservative, you're out. So if you're on Truth Social, you're not going to have to serve on this jury. Potential jurors are also going to face a quiz like none other while being considered here. First criminal trial in the history of this great country. The first time you've had a former president of the United States actually have to sit for this. One of the questions will be, have you ever considered yourself a supporter of or belonged to any of the following? The QAnon movement, the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, 3%ers, Boogaloo Boys, or Antifa. I mean, at least they threw Antifa in there. They've got 500 people that have been sent notices saying they have to show up for this one. And I actually think they all want to be on it. I'm betting they all want to be on it because this is history in the making. I mean, I'd want to be on that one. And I definitely don't want to be on any jury if I can help it. Not until I'm retired, at which point it might be interesting. But this one, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this will be fascinating. This is a front row seat to history. The question is, can you possibly ever get an unbiased jury pool in Manhattan? I don't think so. I think we know that the odds are pretty much stacked against him there. Prosecutors and lawyers are going to select 12 here. So they've got 12 plus a few alternates, and they're going to try to make sure that these people are not really biased politically one way or the other. In other words, you can't like him or dislike him, despite the fact that he is what we would call a high beta personality, right? You know, or in the television business, they call it a Q score. He's got a really high Q score. Everybody knows who he is. A lot of people hate him. A lot of people love him. But they've got a feeling either way. So this is going to be challenging. He has entered, of course, as you know, a not guilty plea, 34 counts of falsification of business records in this particular case, all stemming from the Stormy Daniels alleged hush money payments. You know, they got his former accountant, remember him, and his lawyer and everything to work against him in favor of them. Here is how the judge is describing the case to jurors. This is according to a court filing that has just been made public. I read, the allegations are in substance that Donald Trump falsified business records to conceal an agreement with others to unlawfully influence the 2016 presidential election. Specifically, it is alleged that Donald Trump made or caused false business records to hide the true nature of payments made to Michael Cohen, there you go, by characterizing them as payment for legal services rendered pursuant to a retainer agreement. The people allege that, in fact, the payments were intended to reimburse Michael Cohen for money he paid to Stephanie Clifford, also known as Stormy Daniels. I honestly can't believe we're here. I really can't believe we're here. In the weeks before the presidential election to prevent her from publicly revealing details about a past sexual encounter with Donald Trump. Wow. Okay, so they're going to get 42 questions. Some of them are pretty mundane, like, what do you do for a living? Have you ever served on a jury before? And then some are kind of interesting, like, have you ever been to a Trump rally or any campaign event for that matter? And, of course, what podcast do you listen to? What YouTube channels do you listen to? Oh, dear. Oh, dear. In the meantime, Stormy Daniels, a.k.a. Stephanie Clifford, well, she's going on to apparently have a whole new career. She's all excited because she's now in the South by Southwest Film Festival. She just got accepted into this, and it's just, quote, absolutely mind-boggling, she tweets. What an honor for my story to be premiering alongside so many huge opening films opening night. Yeah, we know why they want her. Right now, she's like a hero because in the left's view, they think that she's going to save the world and save the country. And so she's going to get all kinds of awards. I mean, you can prepare yourself for that. But I don't know if any of this ultimately is going to pay off for the left. And the reason I say that is because I keep looking at all of these polls. And every single time I do, I see something that's really tight. You know, maybe you're getting a 1 or 2 spread difference, usually in Trump's favor. Sometimes it's bigger than that. I've seen 4 points, 5 points. And then, heck, you know, the Wall Street Journal won the other day. They were like a 10-point spread in some cases there. He's winning in 6 out of 7 swing states. And every time, have you noticed this? We saw this with Fannie. Every single time there was an issue there, they came forward with a, well, we want you to pay $500 million. That was the bond for Letitia James in New York City. What happened? He went higher in the polls. So how much you want to bet? He's there for this criminal trial because they feel that it's so important to defend Stormy's honor and accuse him of all of this, that they're going to go after the first president of the United States ever having to sit trial. He's going to go up in the polls again. Mark my words, up, and away. So this will backfire spectacularly. He's turned into kind of a Teflon Trump, and they're going to have to eat their words. So what's going to happen? He's going to be in court 4 out of 5 days a week. So what? Takes Friday off or Mondays off, and you better bet he's on the rally trail and he's out campaigning. And guess what? You just gave him a terrific narrative, you stupid idiots on the left.